Hello and welcome back to the Spotlight Games Podcast for episode 112. Today, we're going to talk about saving democracy in Helldivers 2, the games we revisit the most, and what we think should be on the Mount Rushmore of gaming. Joining me, as always, my sweet dumpster boy, Cayman Darty. Cayman, how are you doing?
Patrick, I'm excited to be back.
Yeah?
We attempted this once before.
Yeah, I don't know if we got Jordan in the chat, we got John in the chat. If you're listening later, you're watching later, for some reason, we had a little technical difficulty. It's bound to happen to everybody at some point. First time it's happened to us this way in 112 episodes. So I'll take it, if I'm being honest. I'll take it. But glad to hear that Cayman's voice is back. That was the problem. No one could hear Cayman. I must have fucked something up.
Here's the thing. Is that a problem, though? I feel like most people in my life would be like, the less we hear from Cayman, probably the better off we all are.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So
you're not wrong.
You know,
Cayman.
Yeah.
What a glorious day. We're here. We're talking about video games. We got Terry in the chat. We got Jordan in the chat. I haven't seen John yet. John might have left us, which I wouldn't blame him because we had some technical difficulties. But I'm just excited to talk about video games, Cayman. We got a lot of video game stuff to talk about because this is the Spotlight Games Podcast, where each week we spotlight the latest and the greatest in the world of video games. You can get it by subscribing to our YouTube channel at Spotlight Games Pod or by searching for Spotlight Games in your favorite podcast app. And hey, you can be on the show by tuning in as we record live Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern time on twitch.tv/SpotlightGamesPod. So be sure to follow us there so that you're notified when we go live so you can be part of the conversation. Also, if you're here live right now, so Jordan, Terry, maybe John, I'm talking to you right now directly. Tomorrow night, we begin with Rose, who is currently in the other room, starting our The Last of Us Part 2 playthrough with Rose on the sticks right here, 8 p.m. on twitch.tv/SpotlightGamesPod. But if you're listening on podcast services, go over to YouTube. Episode 1 might already be up. If it's not up now, it's going to be up later today. But we're starting an entire playthrough of The Last of Us Part 2. We're just going to go until we finish over the course of several weeks. We're not playing the whole game tomorrow night on twitch.tv. We'll probably do like 2 or 3 hours a week, I would think. But very excited to get that started. Terry says, I wish I could be there, but I got to work tomorrow night. I feel a cold coming on, Terry. I feel a cold coming on. I think you might need the call out. And finally, join the Discord. If you haven't already, we're having a great time. Cayman just posted a review in the Discord of a game that he played that you're going to want to go to the Discord to read. He's probably going to tell us about it here in like 5 minutes, but you want to read the review. Go to the Discord in the description of the podcast, in the description of the YouTube video. We got links, baby. We got links. Click the link, join the Discord, come join the fun. Cayman, would you say it's a good idea to join the Discord?
I would say that it's the best decision you can make this year.
This year. Circle back for 2025 if we're even here anymore, and we'll see if it's the best decision then. But right now,
right now in this moment, now sure, something could come up later in the year. There could be a better decision.
Sure.
You know, like do you have another piece of cake? I don't know. That decision, I think, could be potentially better.
Could be. Also, shirtless Spider-Man t-shirt.
Oh, I love it, man.
In the flesh. Got this in the mail today.
Love it.
So representing shirtless Spider-Man. Cayman.
Yeah.
Last week, right here on this very podcast, we talked all about Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. We gave it a full review. We gave your full thoughts. But since then, Cayman, I've put in another, let's say 20 hours. And you...
That's wild, man.
I don't want to spoil it. You tell us what happened with you and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Okay, you want me to kick this off?
Kick it off.
The dumpster boy, or as shall we say, this was going to be a joke that we were going to make where we're going to change my name from the dumpster boy to the Platinum Papa.
Yeah.
Well, we weren't able to, but either way, the dumpster boy / Platinum Papa, he platinumed Yakuza, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
He did.
I platinumed it. And I have to say, full from start to finish, because I did every side quest. You don't have to do every side quest for the platinum, but I did every side quest. mainly because I was trying to like level grind towards the end.
Sure.
It did literally absolutely everything that this game puts on for you. It took me 110 hours.
Wow.
And it was worth every fucking minute.
Hell yeah.
This platinum was fantastic. The game itself, the way the game ends, and obviously no spoilers here. This is one of the greatest endings to a video game.
Ooh.
It has this narrative punch at the end that just it lands perfectly.
Love that.
And I really, really, really love how they kind of set the stage for like what might come next in the series. But it does give like it feels like it gives you like if they're like, hey, this is the last Yakuza game, I feel like you could end it here and be just fine.
Ooh, I love that.
It's just such a magical thing. I don't know any other way to explain it, just other than it's a magical experience. The platinum itself, I think, is top tier as well. A lot of what it asks you to do is just like experience the game in full.
Okay.
Take advantage of what's on offer. And what I love about the platinum too is like you don't have to platinum the game to be able to like get the experience, but it's like if you want to maximize, like whether you want to get all of Ichiban's skills or like his personality traits maxed out, like it's not something you have to do, but doing it is really rewarding.
Yeah.
Both in the way that it ties into doing like challenges within the game or doing mini games or doing side quests, or the fact that it actually plays into how the game works with like you have certain skills that are better when you are completely maxed out. Doing things like all of Dondoko Island gets you the best move in the entire game. Doing certain quests give you the best weapons or like the primer for the best weapon. And it's like it's built in such a great way. The one trophy I will say that could be a make or break for most people going for the platinum is getting to level 70 with Kasuga.
Okay.
So there's two things that there's a couple different ways you can do this. And I don't like one of them I don't think any of them are great outside of like one. So you can do it naturally, which I think is like the best way to do it. I lucked out with pre-ordering the game. I got 5 level boosters. And then naturally over the course of the game, I acquired like 3 or 4 extra. So
does that mean you can just skip to the next level by
it's like a rare candy from Pokemon where you can just immediately level up. So I had several of those, almost 10 of those set aside. So when I ended the game, I only had to grind, I think, like maybe 12 levels. And there's like a way you can do it by doing Sujimon. If you do like the Sujimon challenges, it's like really fast to get the level boosters. So that's probably the best. Like that was how I pulled it off. And it took me an extra maybe 2 or 3 hours of like grinding the Sujimon game, which I love the Sujimon side quest and side game. I think it's really entertaining. So for me, that was enough for me to be like, this is fine. You can also purchase the DLC, the Master Vacation DLC, which I think is an extra.
It's either 10 or 20 more dollars.
Whoa, you just like shot up and heat coming in hot.
Ooh, oh, in terms of my volume.
Mm-hmm. You got spicy.
Is it back to normal?
Yeah, you're back to normal. So, yeah, it's like $10, I think. You get you get a second dungeon, you get some other stuff. And the second dungeon is apparently a great place to level grind because you can like level boost super fast. And with it, and you have like new game plus options through the DLC. So getting to level 99 is like you have to be at level 99 to beat the game, from what I've read. So there is that option. So for those of you who want the extra stuff, want to do all that stuff, great. You can go through the DLC, the Master Vacation DLC, or, and this is where things get real shit. I don't like this.
Okay.
Is that you can just purchase level boosters.
And
it feels cheap. It feels cheap
to be
like that's what you have to do to get the platinum. It feels cheap, right? And now, sure, I've purchased like when I did Tales of Arise, when I got it, I got like the deluxe edition, which came with like a leveling pack that like gave you like 0.2 or like 0.25 times XP. But that was like baked into the game itself, and it was through the deluxe, which I already purchased. It doesn't matter. So there's been moments where I'm like, this kind of sketch, but Like I said, mine already is kind of sketch because I got 5 level boosters just out of pre-ordering the game. So
Sure.
that being said, that's the shittiest trophy. However, all of that aside, this game's fucking amazing. This game must be played by literally everyone. This is the perfect Yakuza game for anyone who's played Yakuza and loves the series, or people who have never picked a single Yakuza game up. I stand by that. This is obviously right now front runner game of the year without a doubt. Like this is going to be in my top 3 most likely at end of year.
Hell yeah. Yeah, so since we last met, I have gone through a couple more chapters, but when I got to Dundoko Island, which for those of you that don't know, Dundoko Island is the like Animal Crossing minigame. And when I say it's an Animal Crossing minigame, it is a 1-to-1 ripoff of Animal Crossing. That's not a bad thing. In fact, it's a great thing. When I got to Dundoko Island, Cayman, I won't say what day this happened because I don't want to sit here and out myself. But I got to Dundoko Island and I played straight until I 5-starred Dundoko Island for about 18 hours. I've only put like 2 more hours into Yakuza outside of Dundoko Island since I got to Dundoko Island. It's basically all I've done since last week. But Dundoko Island, I couldn't stop.
It's addictive.
It's so addictive and it's so well done. Like you said something, we were texting about it, and you said something that I think hit the nail on the head. It gave me just like a sliver of that pandemic feeling with Animal Crossing of you keep seeing that next upgrade just out of reach. You're like the one difference, I said 1-to-1. The one major difference with Dundoko Island is you don't get people to come live there like you do in Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
But this island, it's like a resort. So they come and stay for like a few days at a time. And so a kind of a central piece of it is building enough stuff that fall into these like 4 different categories. There's pop, there's sleazy, there's elegant, and there's rustic. And each item carries one of those 4 like denominations essentially. And there are certain like people that'll come stay at the resort that want it to be sleazy. Certain ones want it to be elegant. And it's just like, it's this balancing act of getting enough like, currency and material to build these things so that you can attract more people with more money so that you can make more Dundoko bucks. And man, if Dundoko Island somehow was like 3 times as big as it was, I would still be playing Dundoko Island. Like, I don't think I would have stopped playing Dundoko Island. And like, I could go back and continue playing if I wanted to, but now that I've hit 5 stars net, like you said, I got the move, which I'm actually not even powerful enough to use yet. Like I don't have the
wait till the end of the game when you're like clearing out like waves of like 8 or 9 enemies at once, which is that one move. It's amazing.
But man, it is so fun. And yeah, I'm so glad that this game clicked for me this time around, because I was afraid after it just not clicking with Yakuza Like a Dragon, its prequel, that it wasn't gonna, but it did. And I can't even really put my finger on why it clicked this time more than last time. I'm not really sure what it is, but such a delightful game. And like, the Sujimon is great, which is the Pokemon ripoff. The Animal Crossing is great. So yeah, I'm having a great time. I don't know that I'm gonna platinum it. I'll go ahead and say now, the getting to 70 does feel pretty daunting to me since I don't have the pre-order bonus, and I'm not about to put real money into this.
Yeah.
So, but man, I mean, for me, it's certainly my front runner at the moment for game of the year. But we're still in February.
True. We still have other big titles coming out. You know what title, Patrick, won't be coming out this year? Because it already came out.
What
I did there?
I see what you did there. It won't be because it already did. That game is Helldivers 2.
Oh, I was gonna say that game is DC League of Super Pets: The Adventures of Crypto and Ace. But yeah, honestly, I think
Helldivers 2 did come out this year.
I think we don't need to talk about that. If you wanted to read something awful, go to Discord and read my platinum review of DC League of Super Pets: The Adventures of Crypto and Ace. I highly recommend. That's the one reason you should join the Spotlight Discord, is to read that. What I will say is that game, I'm ashamed that I played it. And I did it, and I'm gonna admit this live on air, Patrick. I did this because I just wanted a quick and easy 2-hour platinum that I could just use as a little buffer after Yakuza till I could figure out what the hell I'm gonna be playing next. And I genuinely regret that decision.
This looks like a mobile game. I have B-roll pulled up if you want to see what this game looks like.
It's honestly, it's worse than a mobile game.
How much was this?
This was on PlayStation Plus right now. It was on PlayStation Extra, I think. Okay. So you can just play it without paying money. The fact that they charged real money for this game, I think, is a war crime.
Does it have the voice of The Rock and Kevin Hart, which, if I'm remembering correctly, is this game, or is that movie?
Yes, you'd be shocked to know that it does not. Here's the thing: you pretty much platinum this game by just beating the game, right? You don't do anything else. You just beat the game. But there's one trophy in this game where it's like you have to it's like you have to beat a level without killing an enemy, like defeating an enemy. Simple.
Okay.
Simple. I spent almost all of my time with this game on that one trophy.
Oh my God.
Because the hitbox is almost like of your character is so big, and also it makes no sense. There's like sometimes it's like the size of a football field. Sometimes you just go through things without it even acknowledging that you hit it. But here's the problem, is that if you run into an enemy, the enemy dies. So you can't even touch an enemy. And it's like essentially it's an on-rails bullet hell of the worst proportions. And that trophy took me fucking forever.
Sounds awful.
Here's the thing. You want to know something crazy, even worse about this? The platinum, right, has a get rate of 8.8% of players get this platinum. The trophy that I was stuck on, the get rate is 8.9. Literally meaning that more people, like almost every single person who gets the platinum, doesn't get the platinum, stops.
Yeah.
Stops
because of this trophy. Yeah.
Fucking miserable. This is a mental health disorder.
It sounds like it. So John in the chat asks a very good question. Can we go lower than 0.5 stars? Because on the Discord, we also dropped our new review scale, which is out of 5. But it's a 10-point scale. So we got 0.51, 1.52, etc. And 0.5 on our scale means how, and then in the parentheses, did this get made? How did this get made? Can you tell me how this got made, Cayman?
Honestly, I'm just assuming it was to prey upon the weak.
It's a shame. I'm sure they're kicking themselves that they didn't get $12 out of you. Which is what it's currently for sale on Steam, at least. I don't know.
What was the original price? Please tell me what the original price was.
Let's see. On Amazon, it says $17.99. List price of $19.99. So the original price, I'm assuming, is $20.
That is literally $20 too much.
Yeah, it sounds like a heinous video game.
It is awful, Patrick.
It looks like, you know what, like you're on Instagram or you're on whatever app, and then you get an advertisement for a mobile game that looks like it was made by someone who has never made a game before. That's what that game looked like to me.
Yeah, it's the worst. I would rather sit through Peppa Pig again.
Because the second question Judd asked, or not a question, he said Super Pets versus Peppa Pig. If we could get a Marvel versus Capcom style of Super Pets versus Peppa Pig, can you imagine?
Could you imagine?
You're just Peppa Pig ripping apart Super Dog or whatever the fuck his name is.
His name's Crypto. Thank you very much.
Okay,
I only know that because actually no, I knew that before that because I'm a fucking nerd. But this is beside the point. That would be fantastic. No, John, to answer your question, at least Peppa Pig, there's a reason it exists.
Sure.
So, I literally, that is all I have to say in regards to this. Go if you, like I said, if you haven't joined our Discord yet, now is a perfect opportunity. Because guess what? Both of those reviews, my platinum reviews for both Peppa Pig and this dog shit of a game, are both on Discord right now.
They're on
Go
Discord.
check those out.
Pretty soon. Well, I say soon. I don't know exactly how long it'll be, but we're gonna have a little Helldivers 2 review on the Discord, I think.
Hell yeah.
Because we've both been playing Helldivers 2. Not a whole lot. I would say I've probably put in. Steam tells me I've put in 6 hours. That's not true. I must have left it up at some point. I feel like I've probably put in 3, maybe 4.
Yeah.
I've put in or I've played maybe like 6 missions. I've done 1 solo and the rest with groups. This game, if you don't know, this is a sequel to Helldivers, which originally came out on the PS3 and the Vita years and years ago, and then was an over-the-top like shoot 'em up type game, twin stick shoot 'em up. And now it is a third-person kind of over-the-shoulder action. I guess, I mean, it's still kind of shoot 'em uppy, but I would say it's just like an action shooter. But does that sound accurate now?
Yes, it is honestly, I would even almost go to the extreme to say it's a tactical shooter.
Okay.
Yeah, and now I do want to say, because I think this is really important. Did you ever play Helldivers, the first one?
I did.
Brutally fucking hard.
Brutally difficult.
It is incredibly difficult. And one of the main reasons was because there was friendly fire that you couldn't turn off.
Right.
And so the game was real tough. Helldivers 2 is no different. Helldivers 2 can be a lot and can be really difficult. But
and it has that similar, and it's so fun. It has the similar DNA of Helldivers 1 as well, where playing the game solo makes it incredibly more difficult because it wants you to play with people, even if they're randos. And I will say, I've been on record on the show dozens of times saying I don't prefer multiplayer games. I don't love squatting up. And a lot of the reason is because like I end up having to squat up with randos, and it's just like never fun playing with randos. So far, half of the time that I've played this game, I've played with randos. And it's been fine each time. I've not had any sort of like mic issues. Like I'm not talking to them. They're not talking to me, because the objectives are always very clear. You don't really need to do like the tactical strategizing over a microphone if you're playing on easy or medium. You go to hard, which I haven't played yet. I'm sure you do. I heard a group talking about how difficult the challenging mode was. But man, this game has blown me away at how good looking it is.
Oh yeah.
Graphically, it looks so good.
There's moments I was playing that I was like, I feel like I'm in a movie right now.
I don't know if it's just like the lighting tech that they have. I don't know what it is, but man, it's a good looking video game. And it is just pure fun. There's no story. You're like, you fight for Super Earth. You're trying to bring democracy to these other planets. You're trying to free these planets. Yeah. And like, that's it. Like, there really isn't anything more than that. And I don't see them adding story, because at the end of the day, this is in 30-minute chunks. Yeah. Killing bugs, or apparently robots, which I've not fought any robots yet.
I have not either.
But it is just Starship Troopers, the video game. And I feel like that's the best way to put it. And it's so if that sounds fun to you, you're going to love this game. If that doesn't sound fun to you, skip this game. Like, it's pretty, I feel like it's one of the most cut and dry things.
The humor is so pitch perfect. I know we said that about Yakuza, and while I still agree to that point, Helldivers 2 like nails the Starship Troopers vibe so well.
It does.
Like it makes the satire that you get in like Fallout look like it's all on the nose, because this is so well done on like how it gets it. And I think that adds a level of personality, because one of the big things in the game is there's no revive. So if you get knocked down, like, you're dead. You are dead. Your character is dead. Everything on your person is gone. And so what happens is when you die,
Because you're
and you
gonna die.
can't, because yes, you are going to die. So you have your teammates will call down it's like essentially like like a support shuttle that just drops off another human being that has your loadout. And so you're not like, your character is like some no-named faceless grunt. And with the fact that when you die, they just replace you with another version of you. It's if I feel like if it didn't have this like super satirical vibe to it, I don't think it would have worked that well. Right? Like, I
Yeah, I
think
agree.
because it very much tells you right off the bat, like, you are like, you mean nothing in this war. Like, you're there to die. And they like really lean into it. And you are going to die. You are going to die a lot. And that actually is the first rando match I did. I didn't realize there was friendly fire for some reason. And I lobbed a grenade at this swarm of bugs, and it blew up and killed 2 people on my team. And some dude gets in the thing and he unmutes himself and is like, "Gamester, you fucking bitch. Do you not know there is friendly fire in this game? If we lose this fucking mission, I will hurt you." And I was just like, I'm not coming off of mute
No.
and not responding. We ended up getting all out, thank God. So the guy didn't hurt me in real life. But this game this game rules, man.
One of my favorite things about the game too, so like you said, like when you die, you essentially, you call in reinforcements, but you also can call in like supply drops when you need more ammo. You can call in like new weapons and different like attacks from the skies and stuff. And the way they do it, I think, is really clever, where it's giving like Mortal Kombat fatality, where you press, the left bumper, L1, whatever, go through your little Rolodex of the different things that you've unlocked, which you can unlock more throughout the game. And then you have to do like up, down, left, right, 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 left, down, up. And like, depending on how powerful the thing is, like there's more buttons that you have to click. So all like it might not sound very fun, but like you're in the middle, you got bugs jumping at you, you're about to die, and then you have to do this like code essentially in the control that adds like a level of like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. That's really fun. The couple times that I've been like in a pinch and I really need, whether it's new supplies, a new weapon, a barrage of missiles to come in, and I'm trying to, and then you get it wrong. It's like, fuck, I got to do it again. And it's that like high energy, like intense, oh shit feeling kind of throughout that is just so fun. And if you are playing with people, it's even more fun because you can fuck around and maybe you know that there's friendly fire and you still throw a grenade their way.
Did you on any of your matches, or missions, did you do any of the optional non-listed objectives?
Yeah, not every time, but most of the times. And those are cool too.
Yeah, and that's what I think I really love about this is like, it depends on like where you are and where you get dropped. It'll just be random. You will have like 1, 2, 3, and sometimes 0 optional side objectives that you can do that the game doesn't even tell you about. You basically just stumble across these. So like some of them are like, load up this thing, like this massive cannon full of nukes, and then literally just nuke half the planet.
Yeah, it's great.
And there's just, or like get antennas correct so you can call down like this like you can call down like a support thing that gives you like a bunch of resources that you can use for like upgrading shit later when you're off mission. And it's really interesting how you do it, to the point that like every match seems so varied to me. Like every mission, because I probably played like 4 or 5 missions, 1 solo, all with randos. And doing those weird ones, and there's so many different versions, and I feel like this is where this game's gonna have legs, where I feel like something like I don't know. I'm trying to think of like other, like something like Marvel's Avengers or probably even Suicide Squad is like the end game is just repetitive loop of doing the same activity over and over again. This game is like you're jumping in to do these, who knows what you're going to be doing, and all of the things you can do while you're there is so different and something like I don't think I've ever seen in a game like this, where like I feel like I remember back on Evil Dead where it's pretty much just like you have one objective and you have to complete it every single time like this. DBD is the exact same way.
Right.
So having a games as a service, a live service game like this that is meant to try to keep people on, that I think is really cool. My one thing that I'm curious to see and something we haven't seen yet is a roadmap of like what's coming next. Because I feel like though if you throw in new activities, that's great. But one thing DBD does really well that keeps it in the conversation all the time is by throwing in like things that are also attached. So like, oh, do you want to play as like, do you want to play as Chucky? Like, guess what? Chucky's now in DBD. I'm not saying that they need to throw in like Chucky or anything like that, but like they're going to have to do some sort of event. Fortnite does the same thing. Some sort of event that's going to like get players, once they feel like they've hit that wall, be able to keep them coming back again and again and again.
Great news.
Yeah.
The developer has said as of 15 hours ago, a roadmap is coming.
Okay, good.
They're working on a graphic. So
what an amazing, like, guys, we don't have a graphic made yet. We're working real hard on that, which with the server issues that they've had, I would not be shocked if part of it's like, hey guys, before we make this graphic, we probably should make sure that we can handle the ludicrous amount of people that is playing this game right now.
Yeah, there are bigger fish to fry, and that's letting people play the game, because this game got so hot so fast that their servers have been throttled because of it.
Yeah.
But you know, I'm having a great time. And we're going to, I'm hoping that maybe like Thursday night we can do a little Spotlight Games stream night. Whether we actually stream it or just play together, I'm not sure yet. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. So another reason to join the Discord. We're gonna talk on the Discord about when we're gonna schedule that. So because yeah, it's 4 people at a time is the max, and when you get 4 people together and you're all working together, it's so much fun. I'm surprised at how much I like this game, because this is not normally my kind of game.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's hitting that. I probably won't play another game like this for 5 more years after, like, once I'm done with Helldivers 2, but it is hitting. Yeah, big fan of Helldivers 2 so far. So let us know if you're going to be playing. Cayman, we got a little submish.
I love submissions
for this week's show. Listener, friend of the show, former guest of the show, Sweet Keith, aka Nick, sent in a little topic to discuss. So something, this is going back to OG SG top 5. It was an old segment we used to do, top 5 blank, whatever the blank would be. And the one that Sweet Keith in the chat now, Nick, what are the top 5 games we revisit? And you know, this I think could be taken in a few different ways. The way I took it, Cayman, and I'm interested to see the way you took it, because you know your Fortnites, your Mario Karts, your Mario Parties, they're designed to be revisited. That's not the game I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about like, what are the singular experiences that I go back to replay. Doesn't have to be the way you interpreted the list, but that's how I interpreted my list. So let's just go back and forth and talk about the top 5 games we revisit. And if you're here in the chat, like Nick now is, let us know the games you revisit the most. But so Cayman, why don't you start us off with a game in your top 5 games that you revisit?
So, yeah, I'm going to go with number 5, and this is actually going to be, I'm assuming, number 1 on Patrick's list. So I'm sorry, Patrick.
No, that's okay. Let's just, we're going to talk about it at some point.
We're going to talk about it at some point. I'm going to go with The Last of Us. Yeah. My number 5. I don't revisit it nearly as much as Patrick does, but that is actually a game that I revisit quite a bit. It's a great video game. I don't know. And I think it's one of those where it's like, I think the reason why I revisit it isn't even because it's like, and please take no offense to this, it's not, I think, the most engaging combat, because
for sure,
Last of Us, and don't get me wrong, I haven't played the remaster yet, which is on my to-do list. Because because I want to get that platinum for it. I feel like I need that platinum for
You
it.
need that plat.
Yeah. But going back and playing like the remaster for PlayStation 4, like the gameplay mechanics are still very solid.
Yeah.
Super easy to get back into. But I feel like they are they're a little bit dated, but you go back for the story. And I think the reason why I really like going back to The Last of Us in particular is because it's like playing a movie.
Right.
And I love going back and revisiting some of my favorite movies like Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, Sorority Babes and the Slimeball Bolorama, Troll 2, the
Save
Class.
Trash Cinema episodes for all of those, by the way.
All of those live right now on your favorite streaming service. Advertisements. But it's like revisiting one of my favorite movies. And because of that, it's really easy to me to overlook some of the dated gameplay mechanics because you can just play the game.
For sure.
And I love that.
Yeah, so that it's certainly my most revisited game. One of the ways that I put my list together, I went through GG, which is an app that we've talked about on the show before. It's like Letterboxd, but for games. And because I have a list that I've been making since like 2015, I think, of like all the games I played in a year. And I went through my 2015 list, 16, 17, etc. And The Last of Us has been on every single list except last year. I didn't play the game last year.
Really?
It was the first time.
Well, you played The Last of Us Part 2, right?
Not last year, I don't think, unless I didn't mark it in my because the remaster came out in 2024 in January, and I wanted to wait for that. Unless I'll have to go through and see if I have any like trophies. Because you know what? Actually, now that you say that, I think I did. I think I did a what do you call that? Permadeath run.
Yeah.
In 2023. If I didn't do it in 2023, I did it in 2022. But anyway, yeah, I've played one of those two games basically every year since they've come out. And I think now moving forward, because I've not loved replaying The Last of Us Part 2. And that's something that we'll kind of discuss as we stream it, kind of the why. But if you've played it, you know why. But man, no return mode. That might be the thing that brings me back to The Last of Us Part 2 in future years of like, you know what? I want to get that like elevated combat of The Last of Us Part 2. I'm just going to do a few rounds of no return. I haven't been playing every single daily no return run, but I've been doing usually like 3 times a week. I'd be like, I'm going to see what the daily run is today. So that's definitely 1 and 2 I would put as 1 in my top 5. The Last of Us certainly is on my list for sure. What's another one for you, Cayman?
So next up on mine, I'm actually keeping it with Naughty Dog.
Ooh.
And I'm going with Uncharted 2.
Yeah.
Uncharted 2 is a game that I replay way more than I actually think I give myself credit for. And I think the reason is because one, I personally think the story in Uncharted 2 is my favorite story of Nathan Drake. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
Part 4, I love 4. But 2 for me is, I think, just one of the most interesting. It's a darker side of Nathan Drake.
Sure.
It's a lot more grim of a story. And I think the combat is where it became its best, was in Uncharted 2. Like that is because Uncharted 1 had fun combat. Uncharted 2 is like, this is perfect.
It took it up a notch for sure.
Like this is Uncharted 4, I think, has the best of the series, but I think Uncharted 2 is like where it's like, I can play this and this is very fun.
Yeah.
And all of those encounters are really fun. And that opening train sequence is still hands down one of the greatest sequences in a video game. And so just being able to experience that, like, I love it. And that really is, to me, is like, yes, this is it. Uncharted 2.
Yeah, it's funny. Uncharted, if we had this topic when we first started Spotlight Games, Uncharted would have been in my top 5 for sure. Because back in the PS3 days and then going into the PS4 days when the Nathan Drake collection came out, I replayed those games pretty regularly. Yeah. But I actually, since 4 came out, I have not revisited a single Uncharted game.
Really?
And I'm surprised by that. But another one on my list, I didn't necessarily put these in any order, but another one on my list is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. KOTOR. That is a game that back when it came out, similar to Mass Effect, like a BioWare was so good back then that I would beat the game and I would immediately restart it and see what other choices can I make. But even since then, since I played it originally on the Xbox, I've revisited it multiple times, even most recently, maybe like a year or two ago on the Switch when the Switch ports were released. And then a couple years before that, when it was released on iPhone, I played it on iPhone as well. Because they're so good. It's like that original kind of first time we got that RPG where like your choices story wise really matter. You're having like dialogue trees and it's a Jedi simulator, right? Like that was as a kid like the dream of a Star Wars game of getting to be a Jedi, because so many games back then, as a lot of listeners probably remember, Star Wars games weren't normally Jedi games because games just weren't at a point where they could make feeling like a Jedi feel good. It wasn't until, and because like it was a turn-based RPG, like you don't really feel like a Jedi in Knights of the Old Republic for the most part in combat, but the way that you're with the dialogue and using the Force in conversations to like trick people, and it's like that's what really made it feel like you were in a Star Wars. So big fan of KOTOR. In fact, KOTOR 2, which would be like a kind of a silent 0.5 of this choice, I had started a KOTOR 2 replay on Switch, and then I realized that they had announced that they were going to be bringing like some DLC to it, like from way back. They were going to remaster the DLC. So I was like, oh, I'm going to wait until that comes in, because they were saying like you would have to start over. And then they famously, which we talked about like 4 months on the show, canceled it. It was like, oh, actually, we're not doing that. And then there was a class action lawsuit. So I didn't finish that replay of KOTOR 2, unfortunately. But yeah, KOTOR certainly in my top games that I love to revisit.
Well, Patrick, I'm going to bring up a number 3.
Oh,
that wasn't a good of a. I haven't had a beer crack moment in a while, and I can't really drink beer anymore.
That's true.
So, gin seltzers, Patrick. That's what we're on to now.
Hey, sounds good to me.
Gin seltzers. Number 3 for me is going to be Resident Evil 4.
Nice.
Whether it's playing it on the GameCube, on the PlayStation 2, on the Wii, or replaying it literally remastered everywhere.
Yeah.
On like an HD remaster on that collection, or getting it remastered or completely remade. Resident Evil 4 is a game that I would put it up there with the likes of like Super Mario World, where that is probably a game that I have played start to finish more times than any other game.
Yeah, it's up there for me. I had RE2 on my list, but it should be 4. I should have 4 on my list above 2.
And I think that the reason that I have Resident Evil 4 there, where I'm not putting something like Super Mario World, is because I couldn't tell you the last time I actually went back and played Super Mario World.
Sure.
But I can tell you that when I beat Resident Evil 4, I literally turned around and started it up again for no reason other than just to play it again.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I was going back for trophies or anything. It was because I love this game. And I remember we've told this story so many times, like playing back on the Wii days together.
Yeah.
And it would be like, I literally got to a point where it was like before I even knew what speed running was. Like I would try to speed run. There were 2 games, Super Mario World and Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
And I was like, how quickly can I beat this game? And with I think it was the hand cannon, or no, the Tommy gun. And Tommy gun infinite rocket launcher, a Tommy gun infinite rocket launcher run. I could get like sub 1 hour on the Wii. I literally, and I even, this is gonna like so weird, man. I'm having like some weird childhood flashbacks right now. I distinctly remember I would wake up in the morning before school, and the goal was beat Resident Evil 4 before you left to go to school.
Amazing.
Could you do it? That's how fucked up this game was for me. And it is still one of those, like, I'm actually like sitting here thinking like, okay, well, looking for Dragon's Dogma 2's got the next big game coming out. It comes out next month for me that I want to play. And I'm like, should I just replay Resident Evil 4 in the middle just for fun? That's
Kind of
where I
sounds
am.
like it.
That's where I am with this game.
I know the Resident Evil games normally have bullshit difficulty trophies, but I think you should try to do the Resident Evil 4 Platinum.
Oof. I mean, honestly, I feel like if you're using speedrun tech, you can just breeze through those games.
Sure.
And I think it might be possible. And it might be one of those games where it might be like it might be like the Skyrim Platinum, where it's like some way, somehow, I am going to make this work.
Yeah. Since my next one would then also be RE4, but we just talked about it, I'm going to bring in some from our chat right now.
Hell yeah.
We got Rabbit128 says for him, Hollow Knight, Halo, Ori 1 and 2, so the Blind Forest and the Will of the Wisp, Skyrim, and then he also comes in later with Red Dead Redemption 1 and 2. Red Dead Redemption 1 is not one that I thought of for my list, but I've played that game several times. And then Terry in the chat, one jokes that my list is just The Last of Us 5 times, which hilarious. You're not wrong. And then 2 says, as of late, in no particular order, Crash Bandicoot, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Hogwarts Legacy, The Last of Us Part 2, and Tears of the Kingdom. I think Tears of the Kingdom will certainly be one that's on my list in a couple years.
I could see that for you.
But I haven't gone back since finishing it last year because there's just been so many fucking games to play. And then Terry also adds in, he keeps going back to Final Fantasy VII Remake because he's so hyped for Rebirth. I'm so hyped for Rebirth as well. And then Nick says he sent his in Instagram, which I think I forgot to bring over. So let me go get that now because it's Nick's idea. I don't want to skip it.
That's probably fair to give credit where credit is due.
So for instance, he says he plays every God of War 2018 every April. And Nick, that's the only one I see. I don't see anything past God of War. So if you have more, drop in the chat. But God of War actually 2018 is one that I've also played a few times. And I will probably revisit that before I revisit Ragnarok, I would think. Cayman, next one for you.
Okay. It's a toss up. I'm going to go this one with Bulletstorm.
It had to be on the list at some point.
Yeah. That's, I think, when Nick probably came up with this idea, he was probably like, that's going to be Cayman's number one.
Probably.
Which, not necessarily incorrect, because it was a toss-up between number 1, number 2, 4. I'm going with Bulletstorm here. I need to say anything more about Bulletstorm? For anyone who hasn't played Bulletstorm, just go play Bulletstorm. It's like, if it's not on Game Pass, and if it's not on PlayStation Extra, I'm assuming they're probably giving it away for like 99 cents right now on Steam. Don't try to buy a physical copy, though, because those fucking things are expensive.
Oh, really?
Yeah, dude. It's like, I want to say I looked it up the other day because I was like, I need to buy myself a physical copy, or I was going to mail you a physical copy. And I was like, this joke is way too expensive.
Way too expensive.
It's like $80 or $90 for a physical copy. I was like, yeah, this joke's way too expensive. Sorry, Pat. Love you, bro. But that
is so dumb. $80 for Bulletstorm?
Telling you, man. My thing is, like, I'm just sitting here you think about it, it's like, look, I'll spend the $4 to send you a copy of Shaquille O'Neal's Steel live on air, by the way.
Back there.
Live on air. I did that joke, Patrick. And here's the thing. I'll pay that. I'll pay $4.99 for a joke.
Sure.
No offense to Bulletstorm, but Cliff Basinski's out there rolling in his grave.
Of course.
So,
yeah, Bulletstorm had to be on the list at some point.
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%.
Next up for me, and my camera keeps every now and then flipping back and forth. I'm not sure what that is about. Next up for me, Super Mario 64. I thought about different Mario games. I think I considered Yoshi's Island. I considered World. But I think 64 is the one that I've gone back to the most, especially now that we have the 3D collection, which I'm so glad that I bought physically, because you can't buy that game like anywhere anymore, unless you're willing to spend like $140. But it's that perfect, like, I remember so much of it from my childhood that, like, it starts to kind of, you get that feeling again of like, oh, I remember all of the different things to do in this game, and it just feels so good. So yeah, certainly Mario 64 would absolutely be in my top 5. And I've been considering, because I haven't touched my Switch in a couple months, and I'm like, am I about to play Mario 64 again?
It's a great game.
I
You
might.
should speed run that game. That game has a
Ooh.
really cool speed run.
That's true. That's true. I've never actually watched a speed run. I've watched like clips of speed runs of Mario 64, but I know that there's a bunch of speed run shit with
One
Mario
of my
64.
favorites is a dude who did the speed run wearing a blindfold.
How does that even happen? Like, how do you do that?
It's all I think it was like it's all counting and then listen, like you memorize the sound of certain things.
Wow.
So you know to do this when your sound is
That is impressive.
Marathon wise, it would be like, I think the way they did it in the marathon was they had a guy who would like help reset him because he was like blindfolded. So that guy would help, but I don't even know if he needed the guy.
Man, that's impressive.
Yeah, but insane. Yeah, dude, Mario 64. Shows.
I think, are we at number 5 now?
I think we're at the top of the list, Patrick. So you know what that means?
What does that mean, Kevin?
The game with the greatest soundtrack of all time.
Oh yeah, of course. Oh, why did I not think of this?
Need for Speed Underground 2. Okay, here's the thing. Need for Speed Underground 2.
Sure.
One of the greatest soundtracks of all time. No, that game is Katamari Damacy.
Yeah, I was like, I was shocked.
I will go back and play Katamari so much. So much. I will play that game. I don't even care. I don't even give a shit. I will play that game till the day I die.
Oh yeah, you will.
As long as I have a console to play it on, I will play that game.
Yeah.
It is so. It's just such a great fucking game.
Yeah.
It's just such a great game. And if you've never played Katamari Damacy, just go. I don't know what you're doing in your life. Go play that game.
Fucking go play the game
and listen to the soundtrack on full blast.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Ugh, such a great soundtrack.
Such a great soundtrack.
My number 5, I struggled with, because it's funny. I have this phenomenon that happens with me where there are certain JRPGs that I want to be my number 5, like Ni no Kuni.
Sure.
Or even Persona 4 Golden, where like I want to replay it again, and then I start and I don't get past like 3 hours.
Tutorial. Yeah.
I have booted up a new run of Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch. I'm not joking, probably 9 times.
Same.
Because I'm like, I would love to play through Ni no Kuni again, and then I start and I just like can't get into it, even though it is one of my favorite games of all time. So I think for that reason, I have to be honest with myself and honest with you, the listener, and not choose something that I want to be my number 5.
Is the Barbie game.
Actually, I wish. I'm trying to figure out a way to stream Barbie Supermodel.
There's got to be an emulator.
There's got to be. There's got to be. Yeah. And then I go back to that thought of, well, games as a service or sports games or whatever, like those don't really count here because Marvel Snap would be my answer. I'm still playing Marvel Snap. I'm still giving them my money every month because that game is still, it's still in my veins. But I think I'm going to say Portal for number 5. It's a game that I just revisited when I got the PC. And it's a game that it was the first time I'd played it in several years. And I was like, man, I need to play Portal more because it's just so good.
So good.
It's so good. And I'm considering, I have so many different streaming plans now that I have the PC, but I kind of want to stream Portal 2 and then stream Portal. I think it's called Revolution, which is like a fan made Portal 3 essentially.
Oh, interesting.
That it's a free mod on PC that you can download on Steam actually. So I'm considering that. So if that's something that you'd be interested in, let me know. But yeah, Portal, like it's that, you can do it in 1 or 2 sittings, get your brain going because you got to like, I don't at least remember how the puzzles work every time. I'm like, and it's so frustrating. I'll get to part. I'm like, I've finished this puzzle 6 times in my life and I still don't know what to do. And I'm still stuck, but it's so good. It's so fun. So yeah, I'm going to close out my list with Portal.
Closing out the list with Portal, guys.
Yeah.
Fantastic list. I love going back. I feel like I'm really bad about revisiting games. It's like one thing, especially games I platinum.
Yeah.
Like I feel like once I platinum a game, like I'll never go back. The one game that I do go back to is Rocket League,
Sure.
which the fact that I have the platinum on Rocket League, I think is
Impressive.
impressive, mainly just because I don't think you can actually get the platinum anymore.
Really? There's like multiplayer trophies that are just like unobtainable now.
I think it's career mode is unobtainable. Like there's no more career mode in Rocket League.
The fuck?
Yeah. Someone fact check me on this. Someone look up the facts. Someone look the facts.
Look up the facts, y'all. Drop those facts below.
Tell me, is it possible to get the Rocket League platinum anymore?
Nick in the chat to close out this topic. Well, John says Fez is another game that's so good. I need to play Fez. I played some of Fez and then never finished it, but I need to go back. And then to close it out, Nick says games I chose most of the time I go back because the writing / story are so good or just childhood nostalgia. I agree. It's usually story or nostalgia for me as well.
Sure.
And John challenges you to platinum Fez, by the way.
Jesus, look into it. I think I would die.
To close out the show, in hindsight, to be honest with you and the chat, I feel like I didn't realize how similar these topics kind of are in a way, or might be in a way. But we're going to close out the show with what we think should be on the Mount Rushmore of gaming. Threw this out to the audience, also have several submissions, but we are already almost at an hour, so we'll be tight with this.
I'll be tight.
But I think this is the way that I want to do this, because I think this is going to be a fun discussion as well. I think there can be two versions of Mount Rushmore. You and I are going to agree on what we think the objective Mount Rushmore is. And then I want us both to have like, what's our personal Mount Rushmore? Like if the other person wasn't here, what are the 4 faces we would put on Mount Rushmore? And I'm interested, Cayman, to hear from you as well, because so when I put this out to the chat, to our audience on Instagram, I got a couple different types of responses. I got characters from video games. I got just games themselves, like full titles. I got franchises. What do you think we should do for the sake of the pod, for the sake of the conversation? What do you think is the best way to do this? Should it be characters from games? Should it be games themselves? Should it be franchises?
I think it should be both.
Okay.
I think it should, well, technically all 3.
Okay.
Right? I think that it's, for me, Mount Rushmore, as I think of founding fathers.
Sure.
In games. And obviously we're not talking about Miyamoto or Steve Jobs or Steve Apple, man. Woz.
Oh yeah.
Woz. No, so what I'm thinking, right, is like if I were to say like Uncharted, it would be like here Uncharted is a founding father, which I don't believe this, but like let's say Uncharted. The face of Uncharted is Nathan Drake.
Sure. I see where you're going.
I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's whatever the founding father game or genre defining game.
Yeah.
And in the face of that.
And an interesting piece here, obviously we often correlate Mount Rushmore with founding fathers, but you might remember Teddy Roosevelt on Mount Rushmore, Abraham Lincoln on Mount Rushmore.
Oh,
not quite founding fathers. So I mentioned that to say, because we also got Washington and Jefferson, obviously famously founding fathers. So there's some wiggle room here. Like
there is some time. To work. You're right.
We got some time to work with. So let's see it. Okay. So great. So we're aligned on what we're going to do here, and we're going to choose what we think is the objective truth. And then we're going to do our own personal Mount Rushmore. So obviously I'm just going to start the bidding. I think it's obvious, man. I should have done a graphic for this where we could have put faces up. It's probably too late. It might not be too late. Mario. Easy.
Mario. Easy Mario.
Easy Mario. And then easy Mario. Easy. And I just remembered, because we're back on StreamYard right now.
Wow.
We did. So Mario for sure. Mario for sure. And then what else do you think is a clear easy slam dunk?
Easy slam dunk. It's actually really tough because I don't think there is an easy slam dunk. I would say And I think this goes to the whole Mount Rushmore motif.
Yeah.
The Teddy Roosevelt, one might say, of the Mount Rushmore, would for me would be Master Chief in the Halo series.
Sure. I think that's fair. I think Master Chief is fair.
And I was torn on this because I was like, well, there's FPS games that have been out much longer and faces of FPS games that I think are much more, are bigger, right? So something like, or not bigger, but like you have Doom Guy from Doom.
Yeah.
You've got BJ Blazkowicz from Wolfenstein. You have Duke Nukem from Duke Nukem. So you have, but I think, to me personally, the way that I look at this is that Master Chief, I think, is where FPS games became not just something that you'd play on PC.
Yeah.
This became like, all of a sudden, this was a household name. Master Chief was a household name. But not only that, but I think the biggest thing here for me on why Master Chief is because of the online component. It wasn't the first online multiplayer game, but this revolutionized online multiplayer games.
For
like
sure.
what we know of them today. Hence why I think easy Teddy Roosevelt of the Mount Rushmore.
So we think Chief should be Teddy Roosevelt.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Okay. No, I can get down with that. I can get down with that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mario, Master Chief, I think for sure. I think another lock, and I think
Can
this
we
is
turn them all stone gray too. Can we gray them all out?
Oh, for sure. Let's see. So you're getting, if you're not watching the video version, I'm just in Canva right now. Like we're just being totally
dumbasses. This is what we're being.
I'm trying to think what would, or no, would it be contrast? No, I'm trying to think. There's a way to get it black and white essentially.
You just
color. Oh, here we go. Saturation. There it is.
Perfect. Nailed that guy. Perfect, Patrick. Look at this. Look at our Mount Rushmore's already coming together.
We're so stupid.
We are dumb as hell.
So okay, we got Chief, we got Mario.
We do.
Okay, let's look at the chat. I've been so busy trying to get Canva working.
All right.
We got Sweet Skeet says Xbox equals Master Chief. I can get behind for sure. Mario for Nintendo. What would be for PlayStation? We have Crash Bandicoot as a suggestion. We have Solid Snake as a suggestion. That's not even a way I thought about this. Was one Nintendo, one PlayStation, one Xbox, one PC. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting to me. But I feel like if we're considering the real Mount Rushmore, so we've already covered George Washington with Mario, but I kind of feel like maybe Mario should be Thomas Jefferson.
Okay.
Because I'm wondering if George Washington should be like a fucking Pong circle.
Well, okay.
Or a Galaga.
You say that. Here's the thing. I'm still sitting here. I'm struggling, Patrick. I'm struggling.
Yeah.
With this. Because I'm thinking okay, if we're hitting full scope, I would love to say I don't think Pong is gonna be on there.
Sure.
I don't think Pong's gonna be. Now the mascot from the Chex video game. I'm just saying.
Here's a question. So John brings up something that I actually agree with in the chat. John says Master Chief belongs over Lincoln, not Teddy, because if we think of timeline of the presidents, it goes Washington, Jefferson, Lincoln, Roosevelt. And I think there is someone from past Master Chief in the timeline of video games that we should put on this list, because so with Mario, obviously there's the character platformer, there's the mascot of an entire company part of it, and there's just he's the most famous character, most influential character in video games. Full stop. Easy.
He's easy.
Master Chief, we got on the shooter side. We got them really took multiplayer gaming to the next level. Is the argument that I'm making here.
I think
to the next level.
I think there's a logical pick here.
So I think for Teddy Roosevelt, who is the most new, and you're gonna laugh at me, and I'm willing to let this one go to someone else. But I kind of feel like if we're thinking of what changed gaming in certain ways, I do think, Cayman, and this isn't a bit. This isn't a bit. This isn't a bit, and this isn't because I just talk about this game all of the time. But I feel if we're thinking about cinematic the cinematic side of video games. I think Joel and Ellie as a combo.
I'm gonna disagree.
Okay, what do you think?
I want to know the audience. I want to know what the audience thinks on this one. Solid Snake.
You know what? I think you're right. I do think
Solid Snake crawled.
So yes,
Yeah.
full pun intended. Solid Snake
Yes.
crawled so that Joel and Ellie could run from clickers. I agree.
Yes.
I agree. I agree on Snake. You're right. You're right.
I'm glad that went over easier than I was honestly imagining it.
Well, because that's the thing. Like I fully expected, I expected to lose fully, but I feel like a case can be made certainly. But when we think of, with Mount Rushmore, I think you're right in that Joel and Ellie are still a little too new. Even though I think there's a clear before and after from a cinematic storytelling perspective in video games of Joel and Ellie, but you're right. I think without Solid Snake, The Last of Us never happens. I'm trying to find a good face of Snake to put on. It's just this fucking whole body. I don't need those washboard abs, you know?
As we get to George Washington, I'm sitting here now thinking, pontificating, moling, one might say.
Yeah.
Over it. I'm struggling with this one because I do think that you have to go even further back. But I don't necessarily think I love the idea of putting someone like Pac-Man or whatever that's the handsome boy I know and love.
What an awful picture.
The dude's got a mullet too. You gotta love it.
There he is.
You gotta love it. It's perfect.
I just love that we're doing this live.
I'm gonna throw one out there. You ready? Just to throw it out there. Alucard from Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
I mean, Metroidvania has a name for a reason.
It's true,
and that's the Vania. Castlevania.
Here's the thing. This is why I'm going with one. Obviously, someone's going to be out there and be like, what about Simon? Shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. Please shut
the fuck up. We're talking. If you think of Castlevania, no one thinks Simon. They think of Alucard, right? Whatever. I'm whatever.
Here's the reason.
This is why I think so. Is because one, it is the Vania in Metroidvania, but two, it's also a horror game.
Let me ask you this.
Ask me this.
Close your eyes.
Closed.
George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Teddy Roosevelt, Abraham Lincoln. Of those four, who do you think is the least popular? And what I mean by popular is who is the least likely to be recognized of those four? Do you think?
If you put two, I would say Thomas Jefferson.
Okay.
Would be least recognized. I feel like Thomas Jefferson just looks like every other old white guy in the Revolutionary War.
Sure.
Teddy Roosevelt has he has that like my eyes are still closed by the way. He has that look of that you can be a Teddy Roosevelt impersonator.
Sure.
And then people would know who you were. Yeah. They're not going to be guessing. Thomas Jefferson walks in. They're like, hey, are you part of the cast of Hamilton?
Sure. So the reason I'm asking this question, the point I was trying to make, I can't make because you didn't pick the one that I thought you were going to pick, which was Teddy
I'm opening my eyes again. Yes.
But you're right. You convinced me. Thomas Jefferson is the answer. What I was going to say was, I think if Teddy Roosevelt is the answer, we already have Teddy Roosevelt on the list, and therefore we can't have Alucard, who is less recognizable than Snake, because I feel like when you look at Mount Rushmore, for like you know 3 of the 4 at least, as your standard fucking American, and I feel like for the most part, everyone knows Chief, everyone knows Mario. A lot of people know Snake, but not everyone knows Snake. So I was like, I feel like he kind of
Hmm.
falls into that category. You know what I mean? And so I feel like we can't have another for the lay person deep cut,
Sure.
which is why even though it
Okay.
would be another same console as one already on the list,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I
yeah.
think I think a Link / Zelda
Okay.
really
Yeah,
makes
I
sense
think you can.
for the fourth face, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I think for recognition alone, but I think for the the open world adventure game, I think
Sure.
obviously Zelda was pivotal there, and starting with the over the top 2D adventure game there, like it's really kind of grown to become this massive thing
Sure.
over the years, and I feel like so it was there from the beginning, but
Mhm.
it's still there now.
True. I say this: move Mario to Washington.
Okay.
Slap Link on the stodgy white guy in
Okay.
between Mario and Solid Snake.
And now the question becomes, which Link do we put? Do we do Toon Link? Do we do this just abomination of a picture?
Yes, absolutely. The what that I don't even know if that's Ocarina.
I think this is Majora's Mask.
Yeah, I was gonna
according
say I think that's Majora's Mask. That's awful. That's
so
horrifying
bad.
to look
It is
at it.
so bad.
And also, I think it just fits really well. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Yeah. Just like that.
just like that.
Just like that.
You know,
I
feel like we nailed it.
I think we did, Patrick.
Yeah. I do want it should be Link and Zelda, but the truth is, for what we're doing here on Canva live on the show, I don't know that I can get two faces and it look good.
I think you're right. And I think this is even more reason for all of our audio listeners to now go to YouTube, pull up the video, skip about an hour and 10 minutes in. No, probably less than that. Skip about an hour in.
Yeah.
Just watch the last whatever's after that.
Because you know what's so interesting about this list, Cayman?
It's art.
One, it's art.
Science.
Two, it's
history.
science.
Is it
three,
history?
it's history.
3, it's history.
And 4, I feel like I don't even know that I have a personal list anymore. I think this is the right answer.
I think this is the right answer.
I think we fucking nailed it because I look in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
I see from John crying Nintendo bias. He wanted fucking someone from StarCraft. Get fucked, John.
Get fucked. Bro,
Nick
you doing
can
your
get behind Link
taxes?
Zelda? I'm just glad that we don't have any Sonic perverts in the chat. No one's trying to get Sonic on this fucking Mount Rushmore because that I would
Star
never.
Fox. Someone's gonna be
John in the chat says Star Fox. Fucking no.
Wow.
You know who would have been on? You know who would have been on Mount Rushmore before Star Fox? Barbie from Barbie Supermodel. Take it to the fucking bank. Star Fox, terrible game, terrible character, boring. Doesn't even need to be in the conversation.
Okay, but seriously though, like what's the fun of Star Fox?
Clip it. John's unsubbing. You're stuck here at least for like 27 more days. So, yeah, I feel like we nailed it. Let's bring the image back up.
Yeah,
I
think it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to behold, man.
It's a really beautiful thing to behold. Also, I just the fact that it just looks as good as it does. Only what is actually kind of bothering me though is Link's ear over.
Yeah,
there we go. That's better.
Would you throw some shadow behind it and like really make it pop?
Oh, I can go in in post later. And
this is what I
think
think we should do, guys. If you're still listening to this episode, you haven't gone to YouTube yet. I think Patrick probably is going to finish cleaning this up a bit and post it on social media.
I think so too. Yeah,
I think this might actually be the cover art for this week's episode.
It might be. This is really really good. I do
spoiler in the thumb art.
Correct. I do want to honor those that wrote in and share a couple from the audience before we go.
Yeah, please.
Because there is some overlap here. And I think there might, I wonder if by the end of sharing, if we're going to go back to Canva and adjust anything. We might, we'll see. The first submission we got, Shrag Daddy 17, my brother, writes Master Chief, nailed it.
Nailed it.
Mario,
Nailed
it. Sonic, pervert,
Get the fuck out.
and John Madden.
Okay, here's the thing. He actually is onto something here with John Madden. If I had to sub any of them out, I might sub out Link for John Madden.
I mean, just think John Madden's
Just his face. Can you pull the 1993 digitized John Madden face for me, please?
Yeah, for sure. So that was one submission. Another submission. This is from Nick, who wrote in games, but I think we can sub in the characters to keep it on track. God of War 2018, Kratos. I think Kratos is someone we maybe should have had in the conversation, but I don't think he would have eventually landed on Mount Rushmore, personally. God of War 2018, Kingdom Hearts, fucking Donald Duck on Mount Rushmore. Persona 5 Royal and Final Fantasy 9 or 10. And he says cheating with the last one, but it always flips. So either works. I think it's a good set of 4 though.
I honestly could see like if you extended Mount Rushmore out by like 2 more, I feel like throwing Cloud on there would be a definite like yes.
I did skip that in the chat at one point. It went by a little fast. I think it was Terry that said Cloud because of how iconic Final Fantasy VII is. I think Cloud or Snake, I think either could go in that position personally.
Yeah. That's actually a really good point. Yeah, I think throwing them in, I think like if I had a secondary Mount Rushmore that was like, hey, this is my Mount Rushmore alternate, would probably be like Samus, Cloud, Doom Guy, and then probably throw in John Madden.
Sure.
Because seriously, like sports games.
Oh, for sure. I mean, without Madden, we don't have FIFA, we don't have NHL.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. Cognitive Clips wrote in, and he did 2 versions, one with characters, one with games. Link and Zelda / so as one. Samus, so you agree there. Jesse Faden, which I thought was an interesting pick, and Kratos. I don't think Jesse Faden, when we think of like that, that objective quote unquote purview, I don't think Jesse Faden fits, but in the personal list, I think Jesse Faden, amazing character, Control, amazing game.
Do you if you subbed in, would you throw in Leon Kennedy or Chris Redfield?
I think Leon over Chris personally. Yeah. And I think it's because Leon, just because the character is written better than Chris, in my opinion. I think there have been more, and the look too. He's got the fucking bow.
Well, yeah. He's, I think, more of a recognizable face. And if you're looking like, I think you made a good point about Alucard, where it's like that face isn't as recognizable as Zelda.
Yeah,
or
for sure,
Link, or Samus, or Star Fox Boy.
Yeah, and then Cognitive's alternate was Tears of the Kingdom, Metroid Prime Control, and Forbidden West. Interesting flip from Kratos to Forbidden West. Bold pick, Forbidden West in the Mount Rushmore of video.
Patrick, I would love to expand this and do a Mount Rushmore for Nintendo, Xbox, and PlayStation, respectively.
That's a great idea.
I think that'd be really cool to see. And audience, if you think that's something cool to see, let us know. Because Patrick's the one that puts these episodes together. I don't. So actually, technically, just let him know.
I think that's a fun idea. I think we should. And then I wrote down a couple other alternates that I think are worth mentioning, but I don't think any of them quite make the cut. I know a few people in the chat said Crash. I think Crash Bandicoot is a fine person to be a part of the conversation. I think Pikachu makes sense.
Oh yeah,
to be honest,
that's a good one.
Even though there's obviously the anime and the card game and stuff, but I feel like Pikachu makes sense. The Pokemon games are so fucking huge.
Yeah.
Claude from GTA 3. And the reason I say Claude is that idea of taking a genre, flipping it on its head, and really we don't have open world games without GTA 3. So I feel like that was my reasoning there, even though I think it's probably a bit of a maybe Claude can be in the conversation for the PlayStation Mount Rushmore, but certainly when we're looking at all of gaming, I don't think Claude makes it. And what about Goose from Untitled Goose Game? You know what I'm saying?
That's actually, I was thinking something like that. What about Dr. Roblox from Dr. Roblox?
I thought you were saying Dr. Robotnik.
Dr. Robotnik from the game series about a blue hedgehog.
I mean, look, the truth is,
Pervert.
we're all perverts in some capacity. No, the truth is, something like the fucking creep from Fortnite probably makes sense.
I'm sorry, did you just say the creep from Fortnite?
I mean, come on. Let me pull this guy up. Fortnite guy.
Don't know. Are you thinking of Minecraft?
He's a fucking creep.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the creep from Minecraft. You just couldn't remember Minecraft.
No, I mean this guy, John Fortnite, fucking creep.
I'm sorry. Did Guy Fieri post a Fortnite version of himself? What?
What? Yeah, the Mayor Guy Fieri.
Where are we dropping?
Where are we dropping at Ninja?
You know what I love that says to me is not where are we dropping Ninja, as in the guy who has the hair, but he's talking to a juggalo because they call themselves ninjas. So he's like, where are we dropping Ninja? And then fucking the ICP clowns kick in the goddamn door. Then they're like, Flavor Town. And something, probably really racy.
Probably.
Really racy stuff.
Yeah. Man, shout out to the ICP. Fuck.
My cousin, hold on, sorry, I know we're running long. Cousin used to be a juggalette. Okay. It was the most embarrassing period of my life too, just because I had to like try to pretend that like she was cool.
Wait, was this during high school?
No, this is like when I was in middle school.
Okay. I was like, wait, do I have a weird memory of this? But I don't.
No. Thank God they weren't. That she was like at some point, like before freshman year in high school, was like, you know what? Maybe being a juggalette isn't what I want to do with my life.
Sure. There it is.
There it is, folks.
Rushmore.
There it is.
And again, as we said, this is science. It's history. You can't argue this, is what I'm saying. But let us know what you would have put on gaming Mount Rushmore, and let us know if you think we should do this more for like, splitting it out instead of there being, I guess this should have been like the final one, but sometimes we work backwards. Cayman, what a joyous show, if I don't mind saying, or if I'd say so myself. What how does that phrase go?
I think it's something like that. Yeah.
If I do say so myself, there it is. Sometimes, when the lights are on, when the camera's on you, sometimes you just can't.
When you're an hour and 22 minutes in recording and you are just tired.
That's true. That's the truth. Cayman.
Yep.
What if I just ended the show right there?
Honestly, solid way to end it.
Where can folks find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at the Dumpster Boy. You can find me on Discord. Join the Discord, where I'm posting reviews of games that I've been playing, and typically they're awful. Also, how do magnets work?
We're just asking the question. I feel like if there's more of a meaning here, it's going over.
What, you don't know the ICP song where the guy's like,
it's
like magic. How do magnets work?
I don't. I wish.
And he just like does it, and it's magic apparently, or miracles or something. Amazing. That's how a magnet works. Patrick, get it together.
You set it up beautifully, and I wasn't there to.
Where were you like 5 years ago when this became popular?
The hospital. That's not true. You can follow me at Patrick Schwag. You can follow the Twitter. Nope. You can follow the pod on Twitter at Spot Games Pod. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitch, TikTok, YouTube at Spotlight Games Pod. We're back tomorrow night in just under 24 hours right here on twitch.tv/Spotlight Games Pod to stream The Last of Us Part 2 with Rose on the sticks and me riding shotgun. Boy, am I excited. We'll be back next week with another episode of the pod. Until then, thanks for being here. Make sure you go like, subscribe, share, ring the bell, I'm supposed to say. Until then, thanks for being here. To infinity and beyond, and Mount Rushmore is God.